Are you looking for new free science fiction and fantasy to read to get you through the weekend? We've got it. Today we'll be reviewing the top 5 best-selling free science fiction and fantasy books on Amazon. And the top book is a sci-fi story about a young woman who learns she's actually an alien princess. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the MetaStellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV, and I'm the editor here at MetaStellar. Every single Friday, the team here reads the first few chapters of every book on the top of Amazon's free sci-fi and fantasy list. Today, I was helped out by assistant fiction editor Terrence Smith and community member Alex Gorlov. Unfortunately, neither of them can make it here today, so it's just me. The link to the article and to all the books that I mentioned is in the description box below. For those who are new, MetaStellar is an online magazine of speculative fiction. All the content is always free to our readers. We publish original short fiction, reprints, excerpts, essays, and lots of book reviews like this one. We're able to do this and keep our content completely free thanks to our Patreon supporters. But if you do want to spend money, we have our second anthology is out. And also our first anthology is out. That was from the previous year. We're working on anthology number 3 right now, the best of MetaStellar from the previous 12 months. All right, let's get into the books. Book number 5 on today's list is The Last Lumenian by S.G. Blaise, the first of 4 books in the Last Lumenian sci-fi fantasy series. The other books are $3 each and are not in Kindle Unlimited. This is the author's first time on our Free Friday list. So the book starts with Leela, who's 19. She's panicking. She's on a spaceship, and the pilot has to talk her down from a full-on panic attack. They're on a mission for the rebellion to get some kind of space coordinates and meet with a caravan to load supplies. But the message where they were supposed to go came in 10 minutes ago. They missed it. They were supposed to respond within those 10 minutes so that the people they were meeting would know that they weren't compromised. They didn't get back to them on time, maybe because Leela was having her panic attack. And so she failed in her first mission. Then they run into a bunch of asteroids and there's no time to evacuate and they die. What happened? Okay, so that was chapter 1 and 2. Then we switch back in time 6 months earlier. She's visiting her mother's grave ahead of her dad's wedding. Her dad is marrying a new woman who is about the same age that Leela is. So Leela is not happy about this. And her father and she are both royalty in this space empire setting where there's mages and there's space travel and there's refugees and there's a royalty system. People who support democracy are executed. There's a caste system too. Refugees are sent to camps. It's just a bad setting all around. She objects to the marriage during the wedding, is publicly humiliated, but at least she's not executed outright, so yay for her. She also almost has a panic attack during this wedding because of all the people who are there. And then one of her best friends is caught up in the whole anti-refugee thing. She visits the friend in the refugee camp in disguise, trying to get her out, and things go wrong. And I'm guessing this is where eventually she'll join the rebels. I like the premise. I like the setting. I like the basic plot. I like her character, although I'm surprised they sent her on a critical mission, given the fact that she has these panic attacks that interfere with her ability to do the stuff she's supposed to be doing. But I guess she's a princess and gets away with it. So I'm not happy about that. What makes it harder for me is that the book is told in the present tense in the first person, in a kind of young adult kind of style. And I'm an old person, so I'm having a little bit of trouble getting into it. It's very dramatic. It's full of her feelings and emotions, and so I'm not really getting into that young adult drama kind of thing. But plenty of people do. This book has hundreds of 5-star reviews, and it won the Cygnus Award for Science Fiction last year. So if you're younger than me, or at least younger at heart than me, pick it up, and I think you'll enjoy it. Now, I do have to warn you, books don't stay free for long. Authors and publishers make them free in order to promote the entire series, and they go in and out of being free pretty quickly, so grab the book while it's still free. Next, Starfall by Paul Dixon, the first of 2 books in the Ethereal Cycle, a young adult fantasy series. The other book is $6, but isn't Kindle Unlimited. This is the author's first time on our Free Friday list. Alex KOROLOV read this for us. He says that this is a young adult fantasy novel, and although it's geared towards a younger audience, he says that he found the beginning of it very entertaining. It was action-packed, which is something he appreciates. So it's about 13-year-old Samantha and her friend Virginia, who are camping on top of Sourdough Mountain in Washington State in late July. They're there to watch the Perseids meteor shower. And Samantha is outside, is inside the fire tower, and suddenly a bright white light appears in the corner of the room, and it's a portal, and an enormous female white wolf appears carrying a small black cub in her mouth. The wolf is injured and has a big wound. And the wolf talks to Samantha and asks her to take care of the cub. And then a disgusting, slimy creature steps out of the portal with a gun, shoots the white wolf. They both fall through the portal, and the portal closes, leaving Samantha alone with a baby cub. And the cub communicates telepathically with Samantha and tells her its name is Starfall. So Alex says this beginning definitely has him hooked, and he plans to keep on reading. Next, we have Hot Berry Punch by Bradford Tatum, a standalone vampire western. And the author is an award-winning writer. He's also appeared as an actor on HBO's Westworld and Disney's Powder, and he was a staff writer on the Dick Wolf series Deadline, which was about a newspaper. And this is the author's first time on our Free Friday list. So I read the beginning of this, and it's about Emma, who was born in the late 1820s out on the prairie. Her parents were hoping to discover a new life out west, and the writing style definitely matches this time period. It begins with a description of her family's history and why they decided to make the journey, which is like an 18-month trip. And there's details of the journey and the perils and the delivery of the baby along the way. And then there's about, we learn about the house their father built and how the family survived in those early years. The writing is beautiful. It's very detailed, much more detailed than we would normally get in a genre book, and also more detailed than we normally get in an actual book from that time period, in the meaning that there's a lot of stuff about personal issues that people of that time period wouldn't have written about, like the details of the birth, of how Emma begins menstruating, of how she learns about the facts of life, those kinds of things that usually would not come up in a book written in the 1800s. So, and the writing itself is modern, so the style is more classic. It reminds me a little bit of William Faulkner, actually. It's very literary. It's about the messy aspects of human existence. I can see why this author has won awards. And based on the book's description, we're also going to get vampires at some point. I haven't read far enough to get to the vampires, so I'm guessing that they're further into the book. But if you're looking for a literary approach to the vampire Western genre, I think you should check it out. I personally love the writing style and the personality of the protagonist, and I would love to see where the author goes with it. But it is a more carefully paced, thoughtful kind of book than what I normally read, here as the editor of MetaStellar. And it does require attention and a bit of a mental energy that I might not have enough of for this weekend. But again, I might. This is like a good book. So I highly recommend it for people who want a juicy read that they can really sink their teeth into. So Terrence also read this for us today, and Terrence is a video game journalist, so he had a slightly different take on it. He does love the combination of the supernatural and the Western. He says it goes together like peanut butter and jelly. And he also says that the first few chapters focus on her early upbringing and don't have any trace of the supernatural. But he says that the idea of combining vampires and Westerns reminds me of a couple of video games that explored similar concepts, like Dark Watch and the video game Weird West. So he says that people who like that concept might enjoy the story, but he's probably not going to continue with it. All right, next book, something very different. The Naughty List by L.A. Kelley, the first of 3 books on the Naughty List holiday fiction series. The other books in this series are $3 each, but the entire series is in Kindle Unlimited. And we first reviewed this book last November, and L.A. Kelley also had other books on our Free Friday list. So for those of you who don't know, Kindle Unlimited is where you pay $12 a month and you read all the books you want that are in Kindle Unlimited. So you get to read an unlimited number of books, and the authors get paid based on how many people read their books, kind of like a Netflix for books. It's a great deal. The only downside is that it kind of locks people into Amazon. So it's not for everybody. But if you read more than 2 or 3 books a month, it is a great deal. And the Kindle Unlimited list has some fantastic titles in it. Many, many brand name authors and publishers put their books into Kindle Unlimited because there's a lot of people who are, big readers who will only read on Kindle Unlimited. So I read this one. And if you're looking for a sexy Hallmark movie style book, this is it. So one of our protagonists is David, who wakes up in a panic because he thinks he's forgotten to lock the vault on the other side of the building. He teleports over there because he's got teleportation magic, and the door to the vault is in fact open, and the book, with a capital B, is missing. And so he's horrified. This is going to bring shame on his family. But wait, hold on a second. He still feels a mystical connection to this book. It's not too late. He can follow the thread, find the book, and bring it back, or die trying. So I like this beginning. I'm not quite sure what the book is or what the story is about, but I'm guessing it's Christmas related. So then we switch to the point of view of Rosalie, who works in a Florida department store that's about to start getting ready for Christmas. She has a crush on a hot new hire, but she's an average-looking brunette and socially awkward. So she's worried, but the hot guy hasn't hooked up with any of the flashy girls yet, so maybe she's got a chance. She's also hoping for a promotion, but that's not happening either. Then we switch to a third point of view. Billy, a hellhound, he's trying to track down David. Apparently because David went off chasing after the book immediately after the book disappeared, some of the gods up there are thinking that David is the one who stole the book, and they sent Billy out to find him. Then again, we switch back to Rosalie, who's home after a long day at work. She's alone. She's setting up a bedraggled artificial Christmas tree. Then we switch back to David. He's flying south with the wind, searching for the book. Then we switch again, back in the department store. The new manager has fired a bunch of people, and there's a lot of tension in the store. So I'm getting really caught up in this. It feels like a very pleasant, fun holiday Hallmark movie. Rosalie's a sympathetic character. The store and its customers really mean a lot to her. I can see myself finishing the book this weekend, and I did. I did finish the book that weekend when I was reading the book. I had fun with it, and I recommend it to people looking for a holiday romance. Okay, before we go on to book number 1, I want to thank our Patreon supporters, including our newest supporter, Lorena Warnock. Thank you so much. All the donations go to paying for original fiction by new and emerging authors, because we, the editors of MetaStellar, all work for free. We're all volunteers. So thank you very much for supporting us. We love you. The world, it means the world to us that people are supporting us. And the link to our Patreon page is in the description box below if you would like to join our supporters. And also, if you'd like to get this list in your email every week, you can join our newsletter. And then you can also subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you get the alerts whenever we post one of these Free Friday videos, so you don't miss any fun free reading for the weekend. And now let's move on to book number 1 on today's list, Guardian by W.J. May. This is the first of 3 books in the Royal Guard superhero fantasy series. The other books are $4 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. And we previously reviewed this book in July of 2022, and we've reviewed many other books by W.J. May as well. It begins. So first of all, right from the cover, this is my kind of book. I like books about kick-ass women with swords and guns and all that good stuff. So, and Amber, our protagonist, is studying martial arts. Also a good sign. But she isn't too good with a saber yet, but her instructor tells her that she's going to be able to beat him one day. Good for her. She also just got accepted to Florida State, which means that she'll be leaving Seattle to go away to college. And her instructor, Stas, isn't too happy about that. And that's because he's raised her for the past 8 years, after he found her alone in the mountains when she was 10 years old. Amber doesn't remember who her parents are or anything about where she came from. It's all a big blank in her memory. She goes out for Thai food and comes across an old man getting mugged. There's no time to call for police. She throws herself into the fight to defend the old man, even though the mugger is bigger than her. The mugger seems like he's winning when she kicks him, and it sends him flying 10 feet away. And later on, Stas, her father figure, is annoyed with her for taking that bigger risk, because I guess she's got a bit of a superhero thing going on. The next day when she comes home, Stas's sword is missing from the studio. Their apartment is a mess. It's been ransacked. Stas himself is bleeding, and Amber calls 911. She keeps pressure on the wound while she waits for the paramedics to arrive, and Stas tells her that he knew her parents and that he promised her father that he would protect her. Well, this is news that maybe she should have had before. Then when she's at the hospital with Stas, someone who claims to be Stas's friend shows up looking for her, says he used to work with Stas back in his private security days. And then when the doctor tells her that Stas has died, this new friend says he's going to take care of her since she's not yet 18, and he offers to handle all the arrangements, which sounds suspicious to me and to Amber. Good for her. So this is a young adult book, not always my kind of thing, but I do love this story. I do like the writing style, and I'm definitely a fan of the genre. So you can pick up the book free while it's still free. Hurry up so you don't miss it. And I'll see all of you again next Friday. Bye-bye, everybody.